All right, guys. So here's how you can come out of the energy of addiction. Okay. So here's trauma and here's you. All right. Here you are. So sometimes in life we go through trauma where we feel chained. I'm gonna just okay, like a ball and chain. All right. Now this is a ball. We're ball and chained down by past trauma. Okay, this isn't necessarily something going on right now because that's a little different. But let's say you experienced trauma earlier in life. The reason you feel chained to your past trauma is because part of who you are, your self concept, became formed in trauma. So your I am statement feels created in this trauma. And really, it's who you felt in that moment while experiencing the trauma and then not feeling like you're able to move past it. When you feel chained through your I am statement to past trauma and feel like it defined you, like there's a saying about your experiences defining yourself or defining who you are, having moments in life that define you. When you feel like past trauma has done that to you, it will keep you stuck down in low energy. And that's where, when we get addicted to things, we're addicted to nouns, people, places, and things. All right, so we use nouns to cope with it. So nouns became our coping mechanism. So you can be addicted to substances, you can be addicted to fixing people, you can be addicted to going places for some kind of high, but when you're in such a low energy from this, anything that triggers you, let's say somebody yells at you, all right, let's say somebody comes in and they're angry and they're yelling at you, all right, this dude right here, if he's yelling at you, this could trigger this past trauma. What is it triggering? Your self-concept statements, your I ams that got formed here. He's yelling at me because I deserve it from trauma. He's yelling at me because I asked for it from trauma. All of these stories about why it's happening, and it's because of who you are. So this trigger is somebody projecting something towards you where you are going, it's happening because. So in the present, and something negative is happening, and you're saying it's happening because, that reminds you of who you were in past trauma, and that puts you down into low energy, and that's where you need all these places to escape using nouns, people, places, and things to try to move out of it. If you want to heal all of this and come out of it, you have to look at your I am statements, the parts of your self-concept that you believe were formed here. So trauma doesn't have to define you, it can shape you, it can make you into a more empathetic and compassionate person, but it does not have to define you. So people tend to just want to run from this and stay happy, stay in a bubble. But what happens when people come in the present and burst your bubble with their projections? You go right back down. It's unavoidable. So in order to overcome this, you have to look at the past trauma. You have to look at the I ams. And so when people trigger you, you can say, look at why it's because I am. And then it's happening because of who I am, and it's who I was in this moment when this other bad thing happened to me. When you can change these I am statements that were created in this past trauma and learn to look at the trauma as an unfortunate experience that was imposed on you, but it does not define you. This is not you now. This was you then. That's not you now. That was you in a moment of your life, and it doesn't define who you are as a person. It's not your I am statements. It's not you now. People can start to trigger you and yell at you or project on you, and you won't go, it's because of who I am. You'll go, it's because of them. When you can change this to, that's because of them, okay, because of them, instead of who you are, you're not going to feel yourself going back down into these old traumas and this old energy and needing to cope with certain things. You're going to be able to stay above it. So people, when they experience past trauma, they want to just avoid anything that reminds them of it. But the reality is, if you want to overcome this triggering you in the present, you have to look at how triggers in your present remind you or are part of who you are when you were hurt the most in life. And when you let go of feeling like your I ams, your self-concepts, any of them, any part of it was formed in this moment, people cannot affect you in the present, and you won't need to cope with the energy of that kind of trauma with an addictions, because addictions are just a way to try to escape the pain of feeling like you are back in that trauma again. So if you can look at that trauma, see it as an experience that you unfortunately went through, but it had no defining qualities on you. It did not turn you into somebody. It didn't make you a bad person, an unlovable person, a person who deserves negative treatment from others, or feel like you're just going to be the subject of negative behavior and people, or anything negative that's hurtful. And see people who project and trigger you as that's them, and take away that it's because I am story. You no longer are in active addiction. You no longer need to cope with things. You'll no longer have cycles of going back and feeling like you're in the past again. And that's how you start to break out of it. So really the ball and chain to trauma is how you feel like it formed your self-concept at all. And when you can go back to past trauma and really take yourself, learn how to detach in different methods. I do anxiety rewiring. I know there's EMDR. There's a lot of stuff out there. You can see it as an experience and not a defining moment in your life that defined you. You won't look for those definitions to be proven through people and situations that trigger you. And when you stop looking for proof that you really are this person because of this experience, you won't feel affected by these triggers anymore. You'll see it as somebody having their own personal experience, but it has no definition on yours. It's all about them, and you'll be able to separate. Because addiction is an energy. Addiction is down here in low energy. You don't have to stay in it. People, I know there's a theory that once you're an addict, you're always an addict. That's not true. It's not true. You don't have to stay down there. It's only connected to this trauma. Once you're not feeling like you're being pushed back down into old trauma, you don't feel like you need to keep coping with things. So it's really just, you can break this chain by seeing that it never defined you, and that there are no qualities that you see yourself as that were ever made in this traumatic moment. And that traumatic moment was just an experience or time in life that no longer is with you. And again, that takes some trauma work, that takes therapy. But once that is there, you break out of addiction, and you cannot be triggered by other people. So that's how you break out of addiction. That's how you break out of feeling trapped by past trauma and therefore addiction. And that's how you break the cycle for yourself.